The smell of burnt circuitry filled the underground laboratory as Dr. Elena Torres stared at the quantum display before her. The holographic readout showed something impossible, a stable wormhole maintained with less energy than it took to power the coffee maker in the break room. She blinked hard, wondering if the lack of sleep was finally getting to her after 3 straight days of testing. Computer, run diagnostic sequence alpha through delta. Fold spectrum analysis, she commanded, her voice hoarse from too much coffee and too little rest. The massive quantum computer that took up most of the wall space hummed to life, its cooling systems working overtime in the confined space. The Quantum Entanglement Research Facility, buried half a kilometer beneath the New Mexico desert, had been Elena's home for the past 5 years. The facility's isolation and heavy shielding made it perfect for the delicate experiments her team conducted. Experiments that were currently showing results that defied everything humanity thought they knew about faster-than-light travel. Diagnostic complete. All systems functioning within normal parameters. Results verified to 99.99% accuracy, the computer reported in its neutral tone. Elena ran her fingers through her dark hair, leaving it even more disheveled than before. Display comparison with conventional Alcubierre metrics. 2 sets of equations materialized in the air before her. On the left, the traditional approach to FTL travel, massive energy requirements, exotic matter manipulation, and space-time distortion that increased exponentially with mass and distance. On the right, her team's new approach, quantum entanglement cascades coupled with dark energy manipulation. The difference was stark. Where conventional drives needed the energy output of a small star to move a ship, their system could do it with a fraction of the power. The door behind her hissed open, and Dr. James Chen, her lead theoretical physicist, rushed in. "Elena, you need to see this." He paused, taking in the holographic display. "Wait, did you already?" "Yeah." Elena nodded, not taking her eyes off the numbers. "It works, James. It actually works." "Not just works," James said, pulling up another display. "Look at what happened when I ran the scaled simulation." New figures appeared, showing projections for larger masses. Elena's eyes widened as she processed what she was seeing. That can't be right. The efficiency actually increases with scale. The quantum cascade effect creates a self-reinforcing loop, James explained, his words tumbling out in excitement. The more mass we add, the more stable the wormhole becomes. It's like we're not fighting against space-time anymore. We're working with it. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. This wasn't just a breakthrough in FTL travel. This was something far more fundamental. We need to call everyone in. Full team meeting in 20 minutes. As James turned to leave, a new alarm sounded. One Elena had never heard before. Red warning lights began flashing throughout the lab. "Multiple objects detected entering solar system," the computer announced. "Configuration matches known Galactic Council vessels. Estimated arrival time to Earth orbit, 47 minutes. Elena and James exchanged looks of shock. Humanity had known about alien civilizations for decades, trading with them and learning from them. But the Galactic Council itself had never shown any direct interest in Earth before. They were the oldest and most powerful coalition of species in known space, and they didn't make social calls. How did they? James started, then his face paled. The test. When we created that stable wormhole, the energy signature must have been detected, Elena finished. But that's impossible. We're half a kilometer underground with the best shielding Earth can build. "Dr. Torres," the computer interrupted, "I'm receiving a priority message from United Earth Defense Command. General Santos is requesting immediate video conference." Elena straightened her lab coat, suddenly very aware of how disheveled she must look. "Put him through." The holographic displays cleared, replaced by the stern face of General Marcus Santos. His dark eyes locked onto Elena immediately. "Dr. Torres, Please tell me your team hasn't done anything that might have attracted the attention of every major alien civilization in our sector. General, we've made a breakthrough in FTL technology, Alina said, deciding directness was the best approach. But our facility is shielded. There's no way they could have detected. Doctor, Santos interrupted. 6 Council warships just dropped out of FTL at the edge of our system. They're moving faster than anything we've ever seen, and they're heading straight for Earth. Whatever you've discovered, it's got their attention. Alina's mind raced. The Council was known for its strict control of FTL technology. They claimed it was for safety reasons, preventing accidents that could tear holes in space-time. But Alina's team had just discovered something that made their carefully controlled systems obsolete. General, we need to prepare for their arrival, she said. Our discovery, it doesn't just improve FTL travel. It completely changes the fundamental principles behind it. The Council's monopoly on large-scale space travel is about to become meaningless. Santos' expression grew grave. Are you telling me we've just upset the balance of power in the galaxy? No, sir, Alina replied, looking at the equation still floating in the corner of her lab. We've completely reshattered it, and we have less than an hour to decide how to handle that fact. Get your team together, Santos ordered. I want everything you've discovered documented and backed up on secure servers in the next 30 minutes. I'm sending a transport to bring you to Geneva. The Security Council is convening an emergency session. The transmission cut off, leaving Alina and James standing in the suddenly quiet lab. The weight of what they'd discovered, and its implications, settled over them like a heavy blanket. Alina, James said quietly, what do you think they'll do? She turned to look at the quantum computer, its displays still showing the elegant simplicity of their solution. They'll either try to stop us, or they'll have to accept that humanity just changed everything. She straightened her shoulders, determination replacing her earlier uncertainty. Let's make sure we're ready either way. Call the team. As James hurried out, Alina began the process of backing up their data. Above her, somewhere in the clear New Mexico sky, advanced alien ships were rushing toward Earth at impossible speeds. But thanks to what they'd discovered in this underground lab, they wouldn't be impossible for much longer. Humanity had just taken its first step into a much larger universe, and Alina had a feeling the galaxy would never be quite the same. The Geneva Conference Center's underground chamber had never hosted anything quite like this. 6 crystalline beings stood at one end of the room, their translucent forms shifting with internal lights that pulsed in complex patterns. Across from them sat the hastily assembled human delegation, military officers, scientists, and political leaders from every major nation, all trying not to stare at their otherworldly visitors. Dr. Alina Torres sat between General Santos and the United Earth President, her tablet displaying the simplified version of their breakthrough that she'd prepared. The Council representatives hadn't spoken since arriving, their internal lights continuing their hypnotic dance. Finally, the tallest of the crystalline beings stepped forward. Its form resolved into a more solid state, and a voice emanated from it, somehow both musical and mechanical. We are the Oversight Committee of the Galactic Council, it announced. I am First Observer Talon. We have detected a Class 1 civilization attempting quantum manipulation beyond their designated technological tier. This violation requires immediate investigation. Alina felt the weight of ancient eyes upon her as Talon turned in her direction. You are the one responsible for the quantum cascade event we detected. She stood, grateful that her legs remained steady. I led the research team, yes. But we weren't aware we were violating any regulations. Earth hasn't been given access to the Council's technological classification system. A ripple of light passed through all 6 crystalline forms. Surprise, perhaps, or amusement. Your species was not given access because you had not yet reached the threshold for consideration. Until 7 standard hours ago, your quantum manipulation capabilities were deemed primitive. The United Earth President leaned forward. Are you saying that Dr. Torres' discovery has changed our classification? Changed. Another of the crystalline beings moved forward, its form taking on a deep blue hue. Your species has bypassed 3 entire technological tiers. This is unprecedented in Council records spanning 27,000 years. Murmurs broke out among the human delegation. Alina's mind raced. 3 tiers. They knew their discovery was significant, but this suggested something far more profound. What we detected, Zalin continued, was not merely a new form of faster-than-light travel. You have discovered the underlying principle that the Council's founders spent millennia searching for, the quantum harmony theory. Alina exchanged glances with James, who sat a few seats away. Their work had focused on practical applications. They hadn't realized they were touching on something so fundamental. The Council requires immediate access to all research data, the blue crystalline being announced. For safety evaluation, General Santos stood. With respect, the research was conducted under Earth military oversight. We cannot simply. You misunderstand, Zalin interrupted, its form flickering with patterns that seemed almost agitated. This is not a request. The Council has protocols for handling civilizations that advance too quickly. They are not pleasant protocols. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Alina thought quickly, seeing the situation spiraling toward conflict. First observer, she said, stepping forward. What if we could demonstrate that our discovery actually makes FTL travel safer? Not just more efficient, but fundamentally more stable. The crystalline beings conferred in silent pulses of light. Explain, Zalin finally commanded. Alina gestured to her tablet, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. Traditional FTL methods fight against spacetime, forcing it to bend. That's why they're so energy-intensive and potentially dangerous. But our quantum cascade approach works with the natural fabric of spacetime. The more mass we move, the more stable the effect becomes. She brought up the scaled simulations. Look at the resonance patterns. They're perfect fractals, repeating at every level. It's not just a method of travel. It's a fundamental harmony with the universe itself. The blue crystalline being moved closer to the display, its form shifting rapidly through colors. These patterns, they match the ancient equations. The what? James asked, unable to contain his curiosity. Records left by those who came before the Council, Zalin explained. Equations describing the perfect form of space-time manipulation. We thought they were theoretical, impossible to achieve in practice. Its form stabilized into a deep golden hue, until now. The tension in the room shifted. Alina sensed an opportunity. First observer, I propose a cooperation. Not a takeover of our research, but a true partnership. Humanity's fresh perspective combined with the Council's vast knowledge. Together, we could unlock the full potential of this discovery. The crystalline beings conferred again, their light patterns more complex than ever. When they finished, Zalin turned to address both delegations. The Council has existed for one purpose: to prevent the catastrophic misuse of space-time manipulation. We have enforced technological tiers, controlled the spread of FTL technology, all to prevent another sundering like the one that destroyed the ancients. Its form shifted, becoming more luminous. But perhaps we have become too focused on control and not enough on understanding. Your species has achieved in decades what we have sought for millennia. This suggests our approach may have been flawed. Does this mean you're accepting Dr. Torres' proposal? The President asked. With conditions, Zalin replied. A joint research initiative will be established. Knowledge will be shared. But first, you must prove your discovery's safety. The Council will oversee a series of tests, escalating in scale and complexity. And if we refuse, General Santos asked quietly, then the protocols will be implemented, Zalin stated simply. Your civilization will be contained, your research destroyed. We cannot risk another sundering. Alina stepped forward again. We accept the tests. Our work is sound. We'll prove it. As the meeting continued, working out details and arrangements, Alina's mind was already racing ahead. The Council's reaction confirmed what she had suspected. Their discovery was far more significant than they'd initially realized. They hadn't just found a better way to travel through space. They'd rediscovered something lost to time, something so powerful it had shaped the development of galactic civilization itself. And now humanity stood at a crossroads, holding knowledge that could either unlock the secrets of the universe or lead to their own destruction. The crystalline beings continued their discussions with Earth's leaders, but Alina barely heard them. She was already planning the tests in her mind, knowing that humanity's future would depend on what they could prove in the days to come. The massive test chamber beneath Europa's ice sheet thrummed with power. Through the reinforced observation windows, Dr. Alina Torres watched as engineers made final adjustments to the prototype drive. The device looked deceptively simple, a crystalline lattice surrounding a quantum core that pulsed with soft blue light. Final safety checks complete, James announced from his station. Council observers are ready to begin test sequence 7. Alina nodded, trying to ignore the array of alien monitoring devices that surrounded their equipment. The past month had been a blur of demonstrations, each more demanding than the last. But this test was different. This would be the first full-power activation of their quantum cascade drive. Interesting design choices, came a melodic voice behind her. Alina turned to see Zira, the Meridian observer who had joined the testing team a week ago. Unlike the crystalline council members, Meridians were vaguely humanoid, their iridescent skin covered in patterns that shifted with their thoughts. Your people modified the quantum core housing, Zira continued, her skin rippling with curious patterns. Why? We found that a crystalline matrix grown in zero provides better resonance, Alina explained. It allows for more precise control of the cascade effect. Innovative, Zira's patterns shifted to admiring swirls. The Council's traditional designs haven't changed in millennia. They fear deviation from established patterns. The comment carried an undertone that Alina had been hearing more frequently lately. Not all spacefaring species were happy with the Council's rigid control of FTL technology. The Meridians, in particular, had been pushing for reforms for centuries. 2 minutes to test initiation, the facility's AI announced. All personnel, please verify safety protocols. Alina turned back to her console, but movement at the chamber entrance caught her eye. 3 more crystalline council observers had arrived, their forms pulsing with urgent patterns. They immediately began conferring with Zalin, who had overseen all previous tests. Something's wrong, James muttered, coming to stand beside her. They never send additional observers mid-sequence. Before Alina could respond, Zalin approached their station. Dr. Torres, we have received concerning information. There are elements within various civilizations who would prefer your discovery remain unrestricted. You mean they don't want the Council controlling it? Alina translated. Like they control all other FTL technology. The Council's protocols exist for good reason. Zalin's form flickered with what Alina had learned to recognize as agitation. The sundering destroyed 12 star systems and created the void storms that still rage in the galactic core. We cannot risk such catastrophe again. With respect, Alina countered, our approach fundamentally changes the equation. The quantum cascade effect is self-stabilizing. The bigger the mass, the more stable the field becomes. It's literally impossible to create the kind of runaway reaction that caused the sundering. Theory, one of the new observers interjected. Unproven. Then let us prove it. Alina gestured to the prototype. That's why we're here. The observers conferred in their silent light language. Finally, Zalin turned back to them. The test will proceed, but we must accelerate the schedule. Proceed directly to full power demonstration. What? James stepped forward. We can't skip the intermediate stages. The protocols have been amended, Zalin stated. Political pressures are building. Multiple species are already attempting to replicate your work. We must establish definitive safety parameters before. A new alarm cut through the chamber. Alina's console lit up with warning indicators. Energy surge in the quantum core. She announced, "Something's interfering with the containment field." Sabotage. Zyra's skin patterns turned harsh and angular. The collective must have agents here. The collective? James asked, his fingers flying over his console as he tried to stabilize the core. A coalition of species opposed to council authority, Zalen explained, its form shifting rapidly through emergency patterns. They would rather see this technology released without restrictions, regardless of the dangers. Elena ignored the political implications, focusing on the readings before her. The quantum core's resonance was shifting, but not in the way she expected. "Wait," she said, studying the pattern. "This isn't a collapse. The field is adapting." The core's pulsing had changed from blue to a deep purple, and the crystalline lattice around it was resonating at a frequency she'd never seen before. But instead of the catastrophic cascade they'd feared, the system was reaching a new equilibrium. "Impossible," one of the new observers stated. "The containment field should have failed." "No," Elena breathed, understanding flooding through her. "The quantum cascade effect isn't just stable. It's self-correcting. The sabotage actually proved it. The system automatically compensated and found a new harmonic state." She brought up the sensor readings, displaying them for all to see. "Look at these patterns. They're exactly what we predicted in our theoretical models. The system doesn't fight disruption. It incorporates it, becomes stronger." The chamber fell silent except for the harmonic hum of the drive. Even the crystalline observers seemed stunned, their forms perfectly still. "Do you understand what this means?" Elena asked, excitement building in her voice. "This isn't just a new way to travel through space. This is proof that the universe itself wants to be in harmony. The ancients didn't create these equations. They discovered them. And now, so have we." Zalen moved closer to the display, its form shifting through colors Elena had never seen before. "The prophecy of resonance," it said quietly. "When the young ones find the path of harmony, the gates of understanding shall open anew." "What prophecy?" James asked. But before Zalen could answer, new alarms sounded throughout the facility. On Elena's console, urgent messages began appearing from Earth's defense networks. "Multiple unidentified vessels have entered the solar system," the facility AI announced. "Configuration matches collective warships. Estimated time to Jupiter orbit, 17 minutes. Elena looked at the quantum drive, still humming peacefully despite the attempted sabotage. They had proved their technology was safe, but now they faced a new challenge. The political powder keg their discovery had created was about to explode, and humanity was caught in the middle. "Well," she said, straightening her shoulders, "I guess we're about to test this drive's practical applications sooner than we planned." Warning klaxons echoed through Europa Station's corridors as Elena and her team raced toward the emergency command center. The prototype quantum drive's hum followed them through the station's systems, a constant reminder of what was at stake. "Collective fleet approaching Jupiter orbit," the station AI announced. 15 vessels detected. Energy signatures indicate advanced weapons systems powered and ready. Inside the command center, General Santos was already coordinating with Earth's defense forces via holographic link. His expression was grim as Elena entered. "They're not responding to hails," he reported, "but they're broadcasting an open message to all frequencies. They're demanding we share the quantum drive technology with all spacefaring species immediately." "Or what?" James asked, taking his station at the sensor controls. "Or they'll take it by force," Santos replied. They'd brought enough firepower to reduce this station to atoms. Elena studied the tactical display, showing the approaching collective ships. Their formation was unlike anything she'd seen in standard military databases, more like a three-dimensional web than traditional attack patterns. "Those energy readings," she muttered, looking closer. "They're using some kind of linked field technology. Their ships are quantum entangled." Xalan's crystalline form pulsed with urgent patterns. Forbidden technology. The collective has been experimenting with mass entanglement techniques, highly unstable, but powerful. How long until Earth's defense fleet arrives? James asked. Too long, Santos answered. And even if they could get here in time, we don't have anything that can match that kind of firepower. Alina's mind raced, connecting dots that had been floating in her consciousness since the sabotage attempt. Maybe we don't need to match their firepower, she said slowly. Maybe we can use it. All eyes turned to her. Explain, Salen demanded. Their ships are quantum entangled, right? Operating on similar principles to our drive. Just cruder, more forceful. She moved to the main console, pulling up the harmonics data from their earlier test. When they tried to disrupt our drive, it didn't just resist the interference. It incorporated it into a new harmonic pattern. You want to try the same thing with their entire fleet? James asked incredulously. Alina, that's theoretically possible, she finished. The quantum cascade effect scales up perfectly. The more mass involved, the more stable it becomes. Their own entanglement network could actually help us. Help us do what exactly? Santos asked. Alina's fingers flew over the console as she explained. Their ships are linked. If we can extend our drive's harmonic field to encompass their fleet, their own quantum entanglement will help spread the effect. We won't fight their energy. We'll redirect it. Into what? Xalan's form shifted with intense patterns. A new stable state, Alina said. One that will make it impossible for them to use their weapons without disrupting their own quantum network. Zyra's skin rippled with excitement. Brilliant, using harmony against force. The perfect demonstration of why this technology transcends old paradigms. It's never been attempted at this scale, one of the Council observers warned. The calculations alone would require. We have 5 minutes until they're in weapons range, Santos interrupted. Dr. Torres, what do you need? Alina was already moving. James, reconfigure the main drive's resonance chambers. Zyra, I need access to your species' quantum harmonics database. Your understanding of field theory might help stabilize the effect. General, we'll need to channel power from the station's fusion core directly into the drive. You'll have it all, Santos assured her. But Alina, if this goes wrong. It won't, she said with more confidence than she felt. The universe prefers harmony to chaos. We just have to help it along. The next 4 minutes were a blur of activity. Engineers rerouted power systems. Scientists from 3 species worked together to modify the quantum drive's protocols, and military personnel prepared for every possible outcome. Collective fleet entering optimal weapons range. The AI announced. Energy spike detected in their forward vessels. Drive modifications complete, James reported. Ready on your mark. Alina took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the activation sequence. Everything they'd discovered, everything they'd proven about the fundamental nature of spacetime, had led to this moment. Initiating quantum cascade, she announced. Beginning harmonic expansion. The station thrummed as power poured into the modified drive. On the tactical display, a sphere of purple energy began expanding from their position, rippling with complex patterns that mirrored the quantum equations Alina had first discovered in her underground lab. The collective fleet's energy readings spiked as they prepared to fire. But as the quantum field reached their ships, something remarkable happened. The energy didn't fight against the harmonic wave. It joined it, just as Alina had predicted. Field coherence at 100%, James reported, his voice filled with awe. Their quantum network, it's synchronizing with our harmonic pattern. One by one, the collective ship's weapon signatures shifted and then faded. Their linked network, designed for combat, had been transformed into a massive resonance chamber that reinforced the very harmony they had come to destroy. By the ancients, Xalan whispered, its crystalline form glowing with unprecedented patterns. You've created a quantum sync lock across an entire fleet. This is proof. Alina finished. proof that force isn't the answer. The universe itself shows us a better way. On the tactical display, the collective fleet hung motionless, their ships now part of a massive harmonic field that made conflict impossible without disrupting their own systems. They were trapped not by force, but by the fundamental principles of reality itself. A new signal appeared on the communications array. "They're hailing us," Santos reported. "All channels." Elena straightened her shoulders. "Put them through," she said. "I think it's time we had a real discussion about the future of space travel." As she prepared to address the collective fleet, Elena caught glimpses of various reactions around her. James's proud smile, Zyra's rippling patterns of joy, Zalan's deep golden glow of revelation. They had done more than stop an attack. They had demonstrated a new way forward for all spacefaring species. The quantum harmonics hummed through the station, a symphony of physics that proved, once and for all, that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in fighting the universe, but in understanding it deeply enough to work in concert with its most fundamental laws. 3 months after the Europa incident, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council looked very different. Where once only crystalline beings held authority, now representatives from dozens of species sat in newly installed seats. Dr. Elena Torres stood at the central podium, completing her presentation on the quantum harmony protocol that had transformed galactic politics. "The principles are actually quite simple," she explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing ships of various designs. "Any civilization can implement the basic safety protocols into their existing FTL systems. The quantum harmonics naturally prevent hostile actions while in transit. You can't fire weapons without disrupting your own drive field. And this is why you propose opening FTL travel to all species," asked a collective representative, their energy form flickering with interest rather than the hostility they'd shown months ago. "Exactly," Elena nodded. "The technology itself enforces peace. The more ships using quantum harmonic drives, the more stable the entire network becomes. It's a self-reinforcing system of cooperation." From their elevated position, the Council's crystalline forms pulsed with approval. Zalan, now serving as head of the Reformed Council, addressed the chamber. "When humanity first discovered the quantum cascade effect, we feared they would repeat the mistakes of the ancients. Instead, they have shown us the true meaning of the prophecy of resonance." The chamber's lights dimmed as Talon projected ancient symbols into the air. The ancients didn't destroy themselves through technological advancement, as we long believed. They were destroyed because they tried to control and dominate space-time, rather than work in harmony with it. Elena remembered the moment this revelation had hit her, during the long discussions following the Europa incident. The ancients' equations weren't warnings, they were guidelines, showing the path to true understanding of the universe. "The Reformed Council proposes a new approach," Zalan continued. "Rather than controlling and restricting FTL technology, we will serve as teachers and coordinators, helping species implement these safety protocols and join the growing harmonic network." James, sitting in the Earth delegation section, caught Elena's eye and smiled. Their original breakthrough had led to something far greater than faster ships. It had fundamentally changed how civilizations interacted with space-time and each other. Zyra, now serving as the Meridian ambassador, stepped forward. "The implications go beyond travel. The quantum harmonic principles are already being adapted for energy production, communications, even planetary defense. We're seeing cooperation between species that would have been unthinkable months ago." Elena nodded, bringing up new displays. "The universe has patterns, rhythms that we're only beginning to understand. The more we work with these patterns instead of against them, the more possibilities we unlock." She highlighted a section showing ship designs from various civilizations. "Look at how different species have adapted the technology to their own needs. The Meridians use crystalline lattices that complement their natural resonance. The collective's energy-based ships tap directly into the quantum field. Humanity's designs focus on efficiency and adaptability. Each approach is unique, yet they all work together in harmony." "And the void storms," someone asked. The scars left by the ancients' catastrophe are beginning to stabilize, Elena replied, showing data from the galactic core. As more ships travel through the quantum harmonic network, they're actually helping to repair the damage. The universe wants to be in balance. We just have to stop fighting it. A murmur of appreciation ran through the chamber. Species that had once competed for resources and territory were now finding that cooperation yielded greater benefits than conflict ever had. There will be challenges ahead, Salen acknowledged. Change never comes easily. But humanity has shown us that evolution is possible, that we can transcend our old limitations and fears. Elena looked out at the assembled representatives. Crystalline beings, energy forms, organic species, and artificial intelligences, all working together to implement the new protocols. It was more than she could have imagined when she first stared at those impossible equations in her underground lab. We propose establishing the Harmonic Development Initiative, she announced, a collaborative effort between all species to explore the full potential of quantum harmony technology, not just for travel, but for all aspects of galactic civilization. The chamber erupted in approval. As Elena stepped down from the podium, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Humanity hadn't just earned its place among the stars, they had helped chart a new course for all spacefaring species. Later, standing in one of the Council station's observation domes, Elena watched ships of various designs moving through space. Each one's quantum field was visible as a subtle distortion, all of them interacting in perfect harmony despite their differences. Beautiful, isn't it? James said, joining her at the window. Like a cosmic symphony. It was always there, Elena replied. We just had to learn how to listen. She touched the window, tracing the path of a ship as it smoothly entered FTL. The universe isn't a battlefield to be conquered. It's a dance partner, waiting for us to learn the right steps. As if to emphasize her point, a massive collective ship emerged from FTL nearby, its energy field seamlessly integrating with the local quantum harmony. 3 months ago, that same ship had been part of a fleet intent on taking their technology by force. Now it was delivering humanitarian supplies to a developing world. The Reformed Council approved your proposal for the Education Initiative, James mentioned. They want to start teaching quantum harmony principles to pre-FTL civilizations. Elena smiled. So they won't have to stumble onto it in a basement lab like we did. Exactly. Though I doubt any of them will manage to cause quite as much upheaval as we did. She laughed, remembering the chaos of those first few days. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come from asking the simplest questions. Like, what if we stopped fighting against the universe and started working with it instead? Through the window, more ships were appearing. A constant stream of traffic from all corners of the galaxy. Each one represented a civilization that had chosen harmony over conflict, cooperation over control. The quantum network grew stronger with each edition, creating a web of connection that spanned the stars. Humanity had given the galaxy more than a new way to travel. They had shown that the path forward wasn't through domination or control, but through understanding and cooperation. The universe itself had confirmed their approach, responding to harmony with harmony. As Elena watched the ships dance their silent ballet through space, she knew that this was just the beginning. The equations that had started it all still held more secrets, more possibilities waiting to be discovered. But now, instead of facing those discoveries alone, all of galactic civilization would explore them together, in harmony with each other and the universe itself.